One man, an axe, and a bolt of rage. That's all it takes to flip the game on its head. He charges in like a madman, trades like a mini tank. When he falls, he doesn't just disappear, he explodes, giving damage, leaving behind a purple tinted storm of speed and fury that turns pushes into avalanches and defenses into disasters. He's neither flashy nor meta breaking, but in the chaos of battle, few cards hits harder than this one man army. This is the story of Clash Royale's most underrated game changer, the Lumberjack. The guy who chops down your backyard tree without your consent. It's July of 2016 and it has been 5 months since the release of Clash Royale. The player base is growing, but compared to 119 cards we have today, there are only 44 cards, which limited the card combination and made the game repetitive. Due to the slow pacing of cards, Supercell wanted to add cards that upped the pace of the game, enhancing attacks and creating more aggressive nature. On July 7, 2016, we received a new tournament feature that added a Frozen Peak Arena and 4 new cards. Ice Spirit, Bowler, Log, and Lumberjack? Wait, I think it's better to chop wood in the dry forest. Anyways, upon its release, those 4 cards brought in new game features, but it wasn't the fan favorite. Ice Spirit was one elixir that froze the enemy's true for a second, but there weren't any decks that suited. Bowler was great, dealing splash damages, but it was too costly. Log had a different competitor called Zap. It easily overshadowed the Log due to its versatility of damaging air and ground troops. Lumberjack was overshadowed by his fierce competitor, Mini P.E.K.K.A. It cost the same elixir of 4, having the same speed but higher damage. Due to that, Mini P.E.K.K.A. was picked more than the Lumberjack due to being able to counter a tanking troop easily. Additionally, Mini P.E.K.K.A. fitted on any custom decks being versatile, but Lumberjack was quite tricky and awkward, due to not knowing the true purpose behind that purple liquid. It wasn't until August 24, 2016 that there was a balance update, increasing Lumberjack's speed to very fast and decreasing attack time interval from 1.1 seconds to 0.7 seconds and lowering its damage by 23%. As a result, the popularity of Lumberjack has increased, but not to its highest form. Due to its slight popularity, players learned its usage, which not only attacks quickly but also becomes disastrous once its rage bottle is dropped. People used him as a mini tank and quickly replaced a heavy tanking unit such as the Golem, and a supporting unit right behind. This is because Golem have also received a balance update where Golem's hit point increased by 5% and death damage by 5%. This doesn't seem broken at first until we realize that we have created a masterpiece. However, I will return to this later. As we know, an annoying card was released that paired well with the control units and freeze, which was the Graveyard. The Graveyard was broken, so that was a brain dead card that once placed guaranteed a massive damage, which was some type of investment that never went wrong. Due to this, players have been testing out what will be the best counter against it. Poison was great, but it wasn't helping on the counter push, and sometimes it messed up the play. Skeleton Army and Goblins were also pretty great, but they died to a zap in an instant. This is where players recognized the Lumberjack's speed potential and utilized it as a counter attack afterwards. Next thing you know, it was one of the best for that role, sweeping the skeletons to go back to their grave. It is December 15, 2016, and we get a balance update on where Lumberjack's rage attack speed has risen to 30% to 35%, and his hits point increased by 6%. However, here was the problem. Something that floats and provides a pleasant shade in the arena have also received a balance update, namely the Balloon. Balloon wasn't a fan favorite at first either. This is because it costs 5 elixir and has a high chance of not dealing any damage, making it a useless investment. It was countered by minions and archers easily due to its slow movement, making it an easy decision to fade out from the players' interests slowly. However, after the balance change, Balloon have been increased dead damage by over 105% and damage radius from 2 tiles to 3 tiles. With a significant buff, players have started using the Balloon one by one, as Supercell have made it a brain dead artillery, where if placed, it guarantees that almost tower will be taken down. Yet again, the speed hasn't changed at all, so compared to before, it was used more, but not as skyrocketing. Players didn't want to fade away this card, as it was the Golem that had missed a piece. Therefore, they began placing tanking troops, such as Golem and Giants, in front of the Balloon. However, there was a problem with this, number one being that it was too costly to build a Golem, which is 8 elixir card, and a Giant, which is 5 elixir card. That is the whole elixir bank account. Spending that much elixir, yet minions or any air counter cards can counter that easily, making it a useless push. Number 2 was that it was too slow. The balloons went ahead of the tanking troop, making them act as a tanking troop, instead and die first. Number 3 was that Balloon still attacks very slow. Although its attacks became deadly, its attack speed is a joke. This is where players thought about the suspicious purple liquid, Rage. But guess who's holding that liquid? Our friendly neighbor, the Lumberjack. However, I would recommend that you take a look at your backyard tree after watching this video. Speaking of Lumberjack, he is the perfect combination with the balloon. Why? Because he is very fast. He sweeps any range of the troops quickly and acts as a mini tank. Don't you worry if he dies. The players want him to die because the fun part starts after he dies. Remember what the purple liquid does to your troops? If we go back and read Lumberjack's card description, we get to see that he chops trees by day and hunts the log by night. His bottle of rage spills everywhere when he dies. With this, we may not know what is going on. However, if we see the description of the log, then we see this. A split bottle of rage turned an innocent tree trunk into the log. Now, it seeks revenge by crushing anything in its path. Now, you say, After the Lumberjack spilled rage everywhere in the forest, the log was created and sought revenge by cutting down the trees and its fellow comrades. Well, one thing for sure is that logs don't have a great relationship with the Lumberjack. Although it was through Lumberjack that it turned into a living thing, log still seeks vengeance. However, on the other side, who would want to hear from your parents that you were created by mistake? The log isn't seeking sweet revenge just on the Lumberjack. It just hates everyone in its path. Like your middle school emo phase, where you hate everyone in the world and think that the world revolves around you. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it doesn't. Shocker, am I right? I also know that many of you think that the log is cute. However, if you get crushed by a log with a giant spike, try to think again. Going back to what rage does to everything, players have noticed the perfect combination of rage and balloon. They saw the potential and created a monster that we know today. This is the birth of Lumberloon Freeze. Most of you will know what this deck is, but for those who don't, why are you playing Clash Royale? Just kidding. Lumberloon Freeze is a deck that consists of a control unit, Freeze, Lumberjack, and Balloon. It had a perfect synergy where once placed, the Lumberjack in front of the Balloon act as a mini tank, shredding any ranged unit. Once dead, it creates a disaster of rapid balloon strikes to the opponent's tower, almost guaranteeing a tower down. This seems broken, and you're right. It was broken to the point that it was being completely meta-breaking. Just in case you failed to kill any ranged troops, you got the freeze stopping every troop in the tower that has been placed. Lumberloon remains popular and solid today. In fact, at 2021 Clash Royale World Championship Finals, Mugi surprised the whole crowd by using Lumberloon against the former champion Mohamed Lied, the best player in Clash Royale history, and took the title of the champion. Due to its growing popularity, players were facing the Lumberloon too often. This made the game boring, and the community got into action to counter this deck, naming it the project Let's Bring Out the Lumberloon. After conducting countless research, they have found a deck called Golem Beatdown. Unlike the fast pace that Lumberloon prefer, Golem Beatdown is the opposite, where it's used for those people who love a slow-paced match, countering fast-paced with slow. It seems funny at first, but as we read the tortoise and the hare at least once in our childhood, the hare maybe seemed fast, but in the end tortoise, who is slow but with relentless nature, won the race. This was the same thing for the Golem Beatdown. It was slow and ignoring damages on one side, eventually sacrificing one to earn a bigger prize. But what made the Golem Beatdown so special was that it had a similar card, which was the Lumberjack. If you can't beat them, then join them. The idea was the same, placing Lumberjack in front of the Golem and supporting troops right behind it, creating a trifecta. However, at the time, there weren't a troops that was perfect for that role. Something was missing, something that has evil loves creating bats, which was the Night Witch. But that's for another video, so stay tuned. As time went on, players grew tired of it, and the Lumberjack's popularity faded once again, until Clash Royale released a new update called Lumberjack Evolution. Evolution essentially creates new assets, so a card receives a boost. It grants a special ability to the card that it didn't have, which can either become astronomically broken or just normal. In the case of Lumberjack, it was broken. It literally could recrown your enemy's tower in an instant. To understand how, you have to know how it works. Lumberjack evolution basically spawns a ghost Lumberjack after its normal Lumberjack has died and splashed the rage everywhere. The Lumberjack ghost has no specific duration, which is why if you rage and mirror rage the ghost, then you instantly win the game. As you are aware, this issue led to the match ending sooner than the developers had anticipated, which is why, after 8 days of release of Lumberjack Evolution, it got a nerf, as always, where the ghosts don't get affected by the rage card placed afterwards. However, this wasn't enough for developers and they decreased the rage duration from 2 seconds to 1 second. As a result, as of May 2025, we see a 2% usage of Lumberjack Evolution and 4% usage of the standard Lumberjack. Is this the end of the Lumberjack? That we do not know, but one thing is for sure, developers will bring it back once again. This illustrates how a single balance change impacts the overall usage of a single card. In the moment of Lumberjack cutting down your neighborhood tree, join our community to save the environment. Additionally, did you know that Lumberjack drinks the rage bottle while it gets spawned? Maybe this is the secret of his interesting behavior. The Lumberjack might chop trees, but the next card on the list chopped through entire metas. Click here, you won't believe how broken it got.